Good, beautiful morning, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. Today, I have with me the energy of a collective called the Divine Collective, who want to help you to understand what love does. Now, originally, somebody said, well, you have to write down what your love does. And they said, no, 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 no. We all use the same energy, which means it's not really your love, it is simply love. They want us to understand that we actually affect everything around us with our energy, or the energy, as someone preferred to put it. So you have two different types of energy that you use every single moment that you're existing in a physical body. You use this energy outside of your physical body, but the observable realm of the physical dimension is what we're going to be concerning ourselves with today. That there are only two fundamental energies that you use every moment that you are alive. And those energies are simply called love and fear. Every emotional shading that you will ever experience in your lifetime, in past lifetimes, and in lifetimes to come, you can only use one of those two polarities of energy, love or fear. Everything you experience will be in the spectrum of love or fear. And it's important to understand what is the difference for you if you choose to align yourself to love or you choose to align yourself with fear. They affect time and space very differently. The spectrums of fear, such emotions as anger, jealousy, rage, depression, anxiety, these emotional spectrums are generally destructive in the spectrum of expression in creation. That is, if you use those functions of energy, you are going to be harming yourself or other things as a result of those emotional qualities. Every emotional quality is behind every one of your experiences. An emotional quality is behind every one of your experience. And what does your love do that fear does not? Your love constructs, builds, inspires, uplifts, guides. It improves your physical and mental well-being if the function of love is authentic. If your function of love is authentic, you are going to produce very specific and precise events, as equally as you do when you use the emotional spectrum of fear. There is not one emotion in the spectrum of your existence that does not have a creative influence on your life. The only difference is the degree and intensity of that emotional quality will determine the degree and the intensity of the experience that you will elicit from those emotional qualities. So let us say that you're really angry. Well, your anger will precipitate certain language, certain physical behaviors and functions that will ultimately result in something that will, generally speaking, cause difficulty or suffering for yourself or others. Whereas the function of the vibrational state of love tends to do the opposite. It enhances and it improves your life in general. So your love, or the love, because you are all using but one spectrum of energy in the spectrums of love and fear. It is all the same energy manifesting in different degrees and intensities through each and every one of you. The degree of your love and the degrees of your fear match precisely what your current experience is in your life. If you diminish the function of fear as it expresses through you, you will diminish the effects that you are experiencing as a product of that fear. You may have been taught to be afraid as a young child, and many of your experiences are fearful in your life right now. And you might think it is only the outside world that is causing you to feel the way that you are feeling, but let us be clear. It is your internal mechanism of emotion that is responsible for the external manifestations that you call your experiences. And your love coordinates, organizes, empowers, inspires, creates, and builds wonders in this world. Fear does the opposite, although it can be argued that there are those who in anger will go about performing a task very effectively to discharge that energy. But this is a process of transmutation. When one takes an emotion such as anger and does something constructive with it, that is an act of transmutation, taking a lower vibrational emotional quality and transforming it into a higher vibrational function of expression. That is to say, that you can take the energy of anger, transform and transmute it into a higher expression. As you know, that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be changed from one state to another. And this is equally true in the realm of your physics, as it is equally true in the realm of your emotional energy. Those of you that understand the secret of how to transform and transmute emotional qualities within your own consciousness, well, you become masters of your destiny. You contribute to society in most wonderful ways because you have learned the art of transforming a vibrational state into a new vibrational expression. And all of you are doing this whether you are aware of it or not. The difference is, are you conscious that you can take the energy of anger, fear, guilt, and shame and transform and transmute it into a higher functional expression? And we say higher to represent the positive aspect of energy, which is in the spectrum of love, versus the negative spectrum of energy, or that which you would call fear. But each and every one of you, irrespective of your existing life conditions, has the capacity and the ability to change your emotional energy from one state into another. This requires some very simple skills that you must learn to develop, that you must learn to distinguish yourself from the emotions, as the emotions are simply the energy that is available to every living soul on this dimension. Emotion is available to every living soul on this dimension. Learning how to become conscious that you can change the emotion requires that you become aware that you are not your emotions. You are simply aware of that flow of energy in a particular way through you, and you have the capacity to influence and change any emotional quality from one state into another if you are so desirous and inclined to do so, as you must desire or want to be able to shift or change an emotion. And when given proper instruction, you would easily be able to change an emotion from one state to another. Yes, you can turn the vibrational state of depression into the powerful positive energy of possibilities and excitement. You can change and transform the lower vibrational energies of anxiety and change them into powerful positive manifestations of energy. You cannot create a new emotion. You can transform an emotion from one state to another. This cannot be underscored enough. And that each and every living soul has the same capacity to do so if they are so inclined to learn. If you are inclined to learn how to change and transform your energy from one state to another, then we can assure you that the journey from suffering to delight can be very short and quick indeed, when you consider that some of you have spent many lifetimes in suffering. And yet, in even an instant, with the proper knowledge and understanding, you can change lifetimes of difficulty and struggle into new manifestations of creativity and wonder and beauty and gratitude. Is that not what you would prefer more? But one must desire to do so. There are many of you that are attached to your suffering, and you believe that it is real, and you want to keep your suffering, and you are certainly free to do that. and you are equally free to reap what you sow. For what emotional qualities you hold on to will be that which determines the eddies and currents that you move through in your life. Any moment you may alter and change the function of an emotion from one state to another, once you understand how to do that. It is not a difficult or complex process. It is simply something that you are generally not taught to think about or generally taught to do. Most of you are under the illusion that you just simply feel the way you feel and you can't do anything about it, when we simply say to you that is a bunch of lies. That you are capable of transforming and transmuting any emotional state if you are truly desirous to do so. As equally as you can take a substance such as ice and convert the ice into water by applying a vibration of heat to the ice will melt. Emotions function in a similar way, that you can apply a particular frequency of emotion to a lower vibrational emotion, transform and change it from one state to another, just as you can the ice cube into water or the water into steam. You can take the lower vibrational energy of rage or depression or anxiety and apply a different temperature of emotion towards it, and ultimately change that emotional energy from that state into a new state, just as you can with the ice. The same rules apply on the realm of emotion as they do in the physical dimension, transforming energy from one state to another. The difference with emotion is you have a direct and intimate relationship and an ability to experience immediate change in emotional qualities as an act of your own free will, once you understand how to apply that process. Once you understand that there is no emotion greater than what you are. Let us repeat that thought. There is no emotion greater than what you are. The deepest fear cannot override you when you understand the nature of your consciousness, that there is no emotion greater than you are. And every emotion follows the exact same laws of transformation and transmutation once you understand how to articulate a particular quality of vibration and apply it to other emotional states and observe the experiential change that will naturally happen within your body. What your love does is it orchestrates a beautiful life, a beautiful body, a beautiful mind, a beautiful experience. And irrespective of what your definition of beauty is not the point. The fact is that you can change an emotional energy from one state to another and experience yourself in great bliss and joy. And then it is no longer about what your body looks like, or how pretty you think you are, or how ugly you might think you are. It is then a matter of learning to understand that you can alter and change the function of emotion as an act of your own free will. The true nature of love is that it generates a natural beauty. True love, not the constructed, fantastical love that so many of you create about buying boxes of candy and you simply throw the words out, I love you, and you think that the words themselves have the power of the meaning of it. That is not true. But those who articulate love's function consciously and deliberately, they will become beautified by the very consistent and repeated application of that emotion upon their own consciousness and towards their own world. Your love will transform and change the conditions in your life, as equally as the vibration of fear will do the same also. There is no unnecessary complexity to understanding that you can change your emotions right now from one state into another. Your fear, your anger, your guilt, your shame, they are not you. They're energy that you are in the process of learning to manage. Joy, playfulness, compassion, inspiration, these are also emotional qualities that you work with. But you are not the emotions. You are the one that is able to harness them and direct them and utilize them as a creative function while living in a physical dimension. That is what you do with emotion. Your emotions cause changes in your world. And every event or circumstances in your life, even at this moment and to come, is a direct reflection of the emotions you currently hold in your consciousness at this time, any of which you may change with the proper knowledge and experience to change the emotion of sadness to the vibrational state of relief, changing the vibrational state of relief to the vibrational state of possibility, changing the vibrational state of possibility to the vibration of excitement and gratitude. You have such a capacity to learn to utilize your emotions instead of being dragged around by them, believing that your emotions have some special power over you. It's the other way around. You are actually the one that has the power over your emotional energy to transform and change them from one state into another through the deliberate act of your own free will. And this is what we came to share with you today, to understand that your love can heal and build and do wondrous things in this world. And all those things that you observe in this world that are of suffering and pain are of fear. There are only those two polarities in the spectrum of energy in the human creative realm that you call emotion, the spectrum of love and the spectrum of fear. There aren't any other emotions to consider other than the spectrum of love and the spectrum of fear, and each will yield very precise and specific results according to the nature and quality of that emotion. Now, what do you think about this? What do you think about your emotional energy? Do you give much consideration to your emotions? Do you recognize that you can change your fear, your anger, your guilt, your shame, that you have the power and the capacity to change your own emotional energy from one state into another? You cannot create a new emotion. You can simply change an emotional energy from one state to another, as energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be changed from one state to another. So, how do you do this? What are the mechanisms that you use to alter and change emotional qualities at will so that someone comes along and upsets you and you can change your upset very quickly from one state to another, from annoyance to patience? There are simple ways you can learn to do this. But what do you think about this? What do you do about this? Your emotions. How do you transform and change your emotions? Let us know. Let us know how you do that. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Amanda. Hello, Leslie. Okay, there we go. Just clear that up a little bit. I just pulled an oracle card, and it was the guardian angel of love. Isn't that wonderful? Because that's what today's all about. What your love does. It's so such an important thing that you understand that you have total authority. If you wish, you have total authority over what your emotional energy is going to be. You can shift and change emotions if you're willing to do so. They're telling me to say that to you. You must, as an act of your own volition, be willing to learn how to change your emotions from one state to another. And that's our message for today, everybody. We can take a couple of questions before we head out. Hello, Jacqueline. Good to see you here today. Hello, Jasmine. Good morning. Hands, yellow heart, red. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Hi. Yeah, we're not doing that today. Thank you very much. Thank you for liking the live. Remember to like, subscribe, share, follow. So for those of you that are wondering, I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach that I deliver weekly messages on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with the goal of helping shift human collective unconsciousness from fear to love. Because our emotion of fear is creating a very different experience for all of us. Our collective emotion of fear is creating a very different experience for us than our collective emotion of love. Both emotions are at play in the world right now. That's what they tell me. The emotion of love and the emotion of fear are both at play. They always have to be. You have to have a positive, you have to have a negative in order for this dimension to exist the way it does. What they have told me, though, is that the emotion of fear is more dominant in human collective unconsciousness than is the emotion of love. And so we got a bit of a job ahead of us, is what they say, to be able to shift our collective unconsciousness from fear back to love so that we don't have to experience another planetary reset. I know this might sound very strange to some of you, but our emotions are organizing all of our experiences. They tell me this again and again and again. William, humanity does not know what they're doing. Jesus says the same thing. Forgive them, for they know not what they do, right? Because most people do not know what their anger does to the world, what their sadness does to themselves and the people around them. A lot of people don't understand that we affect time and space and matter with our emotions. And so the function of this channel is to continually bring that awareness to anybody with eyes to see and ears to hear, that you must learn to shift your energy from fear to love so that you can not only create a different experience for yourself, but you will in turn influence and affect time and space around you. Back in when Carl Sagan was alive many, many years ago, he was asked on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson about what happens to radio waves when they leave the planet. And he said, well, the radio waves, they leave the planet in concentric spheres and they go out infinitely. They never stop. They diminish in intensity of amplitude by the law of the inverse square. But in and of itself, the radio signal never stops. It continues to assert and influence. And what we know now is that our emotions do the same thing. Your emotions do the same thing as a radio signal, but emotional energy does not diminish by the same law of the inverse square as does a radio signal, because an emotional frequency is on a different wavelength than a radio frequency. And each wavelength has different types of resistances to it. So your emotion of love is radiating out from your body, or your emotion of fear is radiating out from your body. All emotion radiates out from your body in concentric spheres. That's what happens. Those concentric spheres go out and induce changes in time and space and matter. Every molecule around your body is reacting and responding to the dominant emotional state that you find yourself in right now. And they're saying that our dominant energy is fear right now. And so we're seeing the poles move, right? The poles of the planet are actually moving. The planet is becoming unbalanced because our fear and love ratio is imbalanced. It's imbalanced, and we need to balance it. We got only 19 years left to get it right, folks. 19 years to shift our collective unconsciousness from fear back to love. In Atlantis, they sustained a civilization for about 15,000 years. They sustained a very thriving civilization. Eden, one of the most noted civilizations, where the biblical story about Eden, it's a real place and it was a real space and a real time that was based on a principle of love and creation. And humanity shifted from love to fear, to power, to control, to greed. And we all know what happened to Eden. We all know what happened to Atlantis and Lemuria and Mu and many other great civilizations that went down the pathway towards fear instead of love. That there was an actual reset on the planet. And science has been able to measure these resets by the way the iron is stored in the ground. They can tell that there's been a polar shift this way and a polar shift that way. And what they're not aware of, nobody really knows, is that our emotional function collectively plays a significant role in what is and will happen. So it's very important you understand that in the satellite of your own life right now, your dominant emotion is what is causing the effects that you see around you. People, the events, the circumstances that are around you are a direct product of your emotional energy. Thought can stimulate a function of energy into a quality. Thought can stimulate an emotional quality to function. But thought cannot create a new emotion. But thought can change an emotion from one state to another. That's another story. We're just in the middle of our Masterclass 102 right now. We're almost through the first week. And people are learning this week on how to actually shift their emotional energy. And there's three simple steps that that people have been learning about how to change your emotional energy instead of allowing your emotions to control and manipulate you like most people are right now. Anyway, that's a very fascinating thing. Um, Hi Maria, good to see you. Hello. Okay, a whole bunch of new comments here. Let me go down here. We do have time for a few questions. Thank you. Oh, I did do that. Do my guides have any messages for me? If Hi Shannon, if you've been listening, understand you must learn how to shift your energy as an act of your own free will. This is the subject of which we speak today. That you must learn to shift your energy of your own free will. Many of you believe that your emotions have some power over you, but we can assure you it's the other way around, that you actually have the power over your emotional energy. Learn to assert your function of love, even towards those emotions within you that are difficult to deal with. You can use your function of love towards any emotional condition within you that is not favorable or pleasing to you, and you can change a low vibrational emotion such as anger or sadness, guilt or shame. You can change the quality of that emotion from one state to another as an act of your own free will. If you do not understand how to do that, then we would encourage you to learn how to actually do that. Wonderful, great question. How can you help someone that's a mess with alcoholism? This is a great question. The only way that you can help them is by sharing the truth with them and with yourself. Anytime you think of them, think and speak these words. Love is going to guide you free. For this person, I don't know who the person is, but that's what they're telling me. For you to think about that person, love is going to guide them to be free. The individual who is the alcoholic or the drug addict must, of their own free will, choose a different path. Your love has the potential to alter that path. And I've been very blessed in my life because I've had substance abuse issues, I've had alcohol issues, I've had emotional issues, and I understand that once you make a decision to move towards love, when you decide I'm no longer going to cause suffering on my body, when you decide you're going to start loving your body, when you start deciding you're going to do better in your life, you'll start to shift out of addiction. It's just what happens. Once you shift an emotional energy, because alcoholism, drug addiction are based in lower vibrational energies, fears, wants, needs that are unmet. And until you can shift your emotional energy, or until they, in this context, Shannon, until they can shift their emotional energy, it's going to be very difficult for them. They have to be willing to heal. Again, have them book a reading with me, and they'll connect to their guides and angels, and they'll go through a profound change in a very short time. If they're, as I've seen happen many times. But yeah, anytime you think of that person, Shannon, only think those words. Love will guide them correctly. Love will guide them properly. Love guide them. Those need to be the word. Anytime you think about them, don't think, oh my God, what's they're doing? Are they going to be okay? Don't think about that. You're projecting fear at them. Only think love is going to guide them. Love is going to guide them. Love is going to guide them. Project that energy at them all the time and watch what happens. Yes, you can project emotional energy at other people. We do it all the time. But most people are projecting their frustration, their annoyance, their disappointment. Stop it. Learn to take authority over your emotional qualities and project an energy in the world that you want to see in the world, right? Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate that. Roses. Thank you so much. Hi, Jenny. Good to see you, darling. Question from Daniela. In a meditation, I was given the symbol of two swords, of which one had a curved point. It felt familiar. What does it mean? Yeah, you're about to go in a new direction, Danielle. The sword was a symbol saying you're changing direction. You're making a change in your direction now. I'm feeling like this curve is going to the right. So I'm getting that you're moving in the right direction, is what I'm getting from that, Daniela. Congratulations. That's wonderful news. Uh, Someone saying here, the most important way to change your fear to love is to take the masterclass with William, especially the 102 masterclass, which we're in the middle of right now. Masterclass 102 is called Liberation. And you'll learn from the ascended masters, other multidimensional beings that I channel, the simplest and most profoundly wondrous ways to shift your emotional energy from one state to another. It's very delightful, very exciting. How can you help? Oh, yeah, we got you. Thank you so much. Glad to join. Thanks for following. My ex-boyfriend just got a DUI. It is heartbreaking. I know, again, every function of human behavior requires an emotion. If the outcome is negative, the emotion was negative. In any experience that you have, if there's a negative outcome, it's because it was based on an emotional foundation that was of a negative vibration, somewhere in the spectrum of fear, need, want, desire. Lower vibrational emotional qualities will create lower vibrational experiences. So I send you much love to yourself and to your ex-boyfriend. Wish him well every time you think about him. Say, I don't know how, but let love guide him. Let love guide him. Yeah. And remember, everything that happens in your life is because of the emotional qualities you hold on to. And there's no exception to that rule. I keep telling me that. There's no exception. None. Nada. Not even the ascended masters are outside that rule of emotional energy. The difference is an ascended master has learned the function of love and mastered it. And most of us humans are still learning that process, how to master the function of love. But most people are living today, they say it's about a 60-40 ratio right now. 60% of humanity is in fear. 40% of humanity is in love collectively, our collective energy. So I'm sending your boyfriend much, much love. Let love guide his thoughts, his words, his actions. And tell him this. Tell him not to beat himself up for the mistake, but rather correct the underlying emotion that caused him to do that way. He needs to correct the underlying emotion, because every human behavior, and they've been telling me this for 6 years now, every human behavior that will ever happen, has ever happened, is happening, is because of an emotion. Not one function in your body or in your world can occur without an emotion being behind it. Remember that. Every experience you have, whether you think it is a car accident, whether you think something bad happened to you, every event and experience in your life is because of an underlying emotion that you hold within your consciousness. And many of the emotions you hold in your consciousness were given to you by the environment. Loretta's asking, I've been feeling my Uncle Bob's energy lately, who passed away in 2009. Does he have any messages for me? He's giving me a heart song in my head that's called Sing, Child, Sing. He's giving me that. I don't know if you ever heard that heart song. Sing, child, sing. I'm a terrible singer, by the way. But Sing, Child, Sing. He's giving me that song to give to you. Sing, child, sing. Right? It's an old heart song. I remember that song. Hi, Kimberly. Good to see you there. Hey, William. I had a shaman tell me there was bad energy around me, but I told him that the divine is protecting me and I have good energy around me only. I choose love. Good for you, Kimberly. Remember, people can tell you shit. You got the evil eye. Watch what you let people give you. Please be careful. Do not let people give you their fear, because you have a choice. Well, okay, they're projecting fear. You can recognize, oh, someone's projecting fear. They're projecting anger. They're projecting guilt or projecting shame. You can recognize what people are putting towards you, and you can cancel it out. Simply, I return to you what is yours with love and grace. I return your judgment to you with love and grace. Always give it back to them with love and grace. I've been teaching this to my granddaughter. Congratulations. I'm so grateful to hear this. That's wonderful. Children are clean slates. And everything a parent says or does to a child, especially when there's an emotion behind it, conditions that child to a function of behavior. Emotion organizes matter. As my guardian angel John tells me all the time, emotions organize matter. From from the most subatomic particle to the galaxies. Emotions organize matter, right? So simple. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Thank you for coming by today. Really appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Hi. Trying to catch up on these comments here. Thank you that. Thank you for the badges and the gifts. Thank you so much. Hi. I feel that I feel like I will meet my soulmate this year to spread the frequency of love. Is this true? Absolutely, Hannah. When you go into that, I can feel the vibration from you. So yes, you're right on point. Stay in the vibration of love. Understand that the function of your most dominant emotion is what is sustaining and maintaining the existing conditions you have. And that's true of anybody, whether you're Jordan Peterson or President Trump or Kamala Harris. The dominant emotional energy you hold inside you is what is creating your experience. If you got a prosperous, happy, delightful, beneficent consciousness, you will experience a life that matches that. And every single human being's emotions are reflected in the manifestation of their experiences around them. So I'm really glad you're teaching your granddaughter. And again, keep spreading the love like that. Keep doing that. You will find that partner very, very soon. I can feel it. Very strong vibe. Yep. Hi. Almost caught up here. He decided to drink and drive. Listen, he did not decide anything. He was driven by an emotion. Every function of human behavior requires an emotion for the behavior to occur. What was the emotion that made him decide that? Most of you don't evaluate your emotions. You are stuck in your thoughts, disconnected from your emotions. But it's the emotion that he has to heal. And men have a much more difficult time looking, generally speaking, at emotions. Once a man understands the function of his emotional energy, he becomes a very different man. But it wasn't some random thing. How can I heal my left knee? Not sure of the root of pain. Book a reading with me, Adriana. Go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com. Book a reading with me. And they'll walk you through a process. Yeah, they were showing me something like there's this spike of energy that's in the knee that needs to be removed. It literally has to be removed. It's making it hard for you to stand. Yeah, there's some things in your life that you can't stand right now. They need to be corrected. How much more time do I have left on this planet? I'm being told to tell you, you have, yes, I will. Hang on, slow down. Okay. Yes, you must understand that you have some influence over the time and duration at which you can be on this planet. If the function of your emotional energy is high enough, it can sustain life very differently than when it is low. Emotional qualities influence and direct the consciousness of every cell in your body. So the shortening or lengthening of a life can have a great deal to do with the emotional qualities indulged in consistently and repeatedly. And not surprisingly, people that are in a very angry state can actually live quite long because the emotion of that energy is so strong. But they will not be very happy. But they can live a long time. But generally speaking, every emotion directs, alters, and changes the functional nature of your body at any point of time and space. You can raise the energy up and you can lower the energy down as an active word. So you can extend your life, you can shorten your life. You have that kind of authority and autonomy. It's unfortunate that they do not teach many of you this in your systems of so-called education. They do not teach you that a function of joy organizes conditions in your body very differently than a function of love. And yet it is very well documented scientifically that people in different states of emotion have different effects that occur in their biology. Wow, that's a really great question. Oh, you're very welcome, Maria. Bridget's asking, good morning. Was the situation I had with an injured bird yesterday have a message attached to it? Yes. that you're fearlessly becoming compassionately based. You no longer fear death as your compassion allows you to transcend the limits of those things with others. Yes, they're saying that the reason that bird was presented to you was to give you an opportunity to exercise greater love and compassion. And so many of you will be given opportunities, especially in these days, to exercise greater love and compassion, or you can exercise greater anger and annoyance. The choice will be yours. The effects will be very different, though. That's great, Bridget. Congratulations. Um, well, Leslie, you've got a lot of anger, and you need to release that anger. You really do. Let the anger go. You need to let go of the anger, Leslie. And I'm just going to transmit to you, no matter what you think or feel or believe about others, you're still worthy and deserving of love. No matter what you think and feel and believe about others, you are worthy and deserving of love. And in whatever way my heart can offer that to you at this time, I extend that function of love and gratitude to you in the way that you're able to receive it at this time. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, lots of people are being given opportunities to exercise love. How much more time? Oh, yes, we got that. Somebody a guy made this interesting comment about somebody saying, "How long do I have on the planet?" Somebody said, "A very long time if you're separated from God," which is love. God and love are synonymous. Devil and evil are synonymous with fear, right? So yeah, the closer you are to the divine, the shorter your need for being in this dimension will be. Of course, if there's a different purpose for you, well, you could be here for many, many lifetimes. If the divine sees it, that's what it is. Oh, you're very welcome. Um, my precious mom is on her way out of this uh, realm. Uh, this real net memory is is going to, yeah, realm. Her memory is going. It is going to be hard to stay in love now. Again, you remain. Your mother needs this, and a lot of people that are going through dementia and difficulty. They need to know two things. The reason people hold on is they believe they have an obligation to stay here. The reason people will hold on through even the most grotesque pain and suffering. If you've ever been in a palliative care unit, then you know what I mean. People are there and they're just hanging on, suffering terribly because they have an obligation. And if you can let people know that whether they're with you in the flesh or not, that you'll always love them, that they don't owe you anything, and that you don't owe them anything. It's important that people feel they don't owe people others, but people will say, I've worked with people that have believed they couldn't leave because their children couldn't take care of themselves. And they would hold on for 2 years of horrible suffering in a bed, slowly declining. Not because they want to, but because part of them feels, if I leave, my children can't take care of themselves. That's one example of many. And when they came to the realization that their children were literally able to take care of themselves, they left like that, literally within an hour. Imagine that. That the minute they realized that they didn't have an obligation, they could go. Let your mother know that she does not owe anybody anything and nobody owes her anything. Let her know that whether she leaves or stays, you're open and receptive to what's best for her. And I transmit my love, my gratitude, my grace to her in the fashion that she's able to receive it at this time. Right? It's a wonderful thing. Transformation. Um, question from David. Hi, David. I've started a green Terra practice lately. Is it appropriate? Is there more I could do to deepen the practice? Again, devices like cards and crystals and pendulums, these are meant to be teaching devices. They, in and of themselves, have no special property or power. It is the consciousness that you have that gets trained by these. The goal in these devices is to teach you to focus and activate your non-physical senses: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. The practice is designed to teach you to open up these other spiritual faculties that everybody has, but very few have developed. What Master Jesus talking about was that most people don't have eyes to see or ears to hear. He's talking about your spiritual eye, your spiritual ear, which is what these devices can help you learn to develop. In terms of the practice of it, if the function of your practice is to make money, you are going to be able to make money, but you will not find much fulfillment. If the function of the practice is to elevate others up to a higher function of their love, then you will be experiencing something very, very different than you ever imagined. Um, all right. Do thoughts create the emotions? Thoughts stimulate the movement of emotional energy. Yes. It's like think the thought, I'm lying on a beautiful, hot, white, sandy Cuban beach. Think that thought and watch what happens in your body. There's an immediate movement in emotional energy. And at any point, at any thought, and every thought initiates a movement of emotional energy. Every thought does that. Every thought that goes through your mind, well, the ones that you've been given by the world, the ones you make up yourself, the ones you receive from television or radio or movies, every thought that you interact with has an emotional impact upon the world and upon yourself. So yes, your thoughts don't create the emotions, they initiate its function. So it's like the emotion is sitting inside you, and you put the thought of a white hot Cuban beach, that thought goes in and the emotion gets moved into that manifestation. Emotions cannot be created or destroyed. They can only be changed from one state to another. That's the bottom line. Hi. Someone saying you get a reading with William, it will change your life. Yes, it will. Yeah, please do. Don't waste time. Like, I cannot tell you how many people, well, many people that come for readings end up going through our program, and lives are changed. Lives are changed very simply and easily. I want to take a moment just to say I'm so grateful that I get to work with the Ascended Masters, that I get to whatever limited ability I have to communicate their wisdom, their knowledge, and truth in the way that I'm able to. And it's pretty remarkable. Yeah. So come book a reading. Don't waste any time. How do I book with you? Please go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com. And then just go to the shop and you'll see we can book a reading with me in the shop. It's one of the services I offer. And again, how do you release anger? We're actually next week, and we're week 2 of our Masterclass 102. Every one of our masterclasses is 3 weeks long. And in week 2, you learn how to actually identify emotion, recognize where it lives in your body, and how to transform it from the state it's in into a new state. So it's not about the process is understanding and recognizing what the emotion is, where it lives in your body, and how to release it from the body, or how to transform it from the state it's in into a new state. It's not that difficult a process. What most people do is they get stuck in an emotion and they can't differentiate from it. So a person gets angry. I'm angry. So they become the anger. And when you become the emotion, you have no objective position to change it. If you become your sadness, you're in no objective position to change it. And that's what happens. Most people identify with the emotion as yourself. You are not your emotions. Your emotions are energy that you have. You can change them from one state to another. But yeah, go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com. Book yourself a wonderful life transforming reading. Does your thought create your feelings? No, again, your thoughts don't create anything. They set a movement of energy. Think of your emotional energy as a still, quiet pond. And the water's very still. There's not even a ripple on the top of this pond. And then you have a thought. Oh, I love that bird over there. And it's like that thought is like a little pebble being dropped in the water. And it hits the still waters, and the waves ripple from that thing that you drop in. That's so your thoughts initiate a movement of emotional energy. And some people can't control the thoughts they have, and so they create this stormy sea of emotion that they can't change or control. Not that they can't change it or control it, they don't know how to. And that's the challenge that most humans are facing. Nobody's been taught how to interact with your emotional energy. as the awareness that you are. But yeah, your thoughts only send emotion, energy into movement. Um, well, Leslie, you can sign up for it again, and we'll see if you can get through it this time. Um, it's important. Most people, and again, human beings have been toxified. There are people on the planet that benefit from other people's suffering, and they may have done so innocently. I mean, who would have thought that for 60 years that by putting BPA in plastics that you'd be dumping estrogen into the male body? Who that invented the plastic had the knowledge when they created that chemical BPA? Did they know that they were putting an estrogen mimicking compound in plastic that would have feminized men? Did they know that? And or they just were they just interested in making money from the bottles and they had no idea that BPA would do that? It's only been the last 5 or 10 years that they realized, oh, there's a estrogen mimicking compound in plastic bottles that affects men's bodies very different than in women's bodies. So there are people that gain benefit from what they do and may not understand what the effects of what they're doing, even though it benefits them, but not understand how it affects other people. But yeah, we yeah. Um yes. Starting as low as 12, can you have an emotion without a thought? Okay, this is a great question. From ages 0 to age 7, children do not understand or comprehend thought or language, only on a very basic level. So a little child receives thoughts through the 5 physical senses. It receives information. That information goes in. Mommy and daddy look at the baby. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're wonderful. You're a gem. They might not have good thoughts about the child, but whatever thought the parent has about their child, what parents think about their child, those thoughts generate or stimulate an emotional movement in that child's energy. If you're giving more love towards your child and more gratitude and appreciation and respect, then the child is going to have that energy cultivated within them. There are people that raise environments where the parents are yelling and screaming and fighting all the time, and that then goes into the child's emotional field. And then it grows up being an angry child, not because it wanted to, but that's what the environment provided with. So between ages 0 and 7, most of the emotional predispositions of a child are laid in during those formative years between ages from the moment of conception to around age 7. At around age 7, the child begins to recognize its individuality. I am, it starts to remember, I'm me, but it doesn't have an awareness of these underlying emotions. And so you have children by age 12 or 13 that are acting out and doing destructive and harmful things, not because they want to, but the emotional template was laid in by their environment. And most of the things you see on television nowadays put violence into people's minds. And parents will sit with their young children watching Aliens and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and program their children to fear. That's going on. So yes, parents set in motion, the environment sets into motion the emotional predispositions within a child. Basically, the child gets fed that emotional quality. And if the parents are wise enough and intelligent enough, they can teach the child how to evaluate their thoughts and emotions and learn to change them. But our educational system doesn't do that. Our educational system does not teach a child that if you think this thought, it will cause this thing. If you think about that picture or that event, it's going to cause that emotion. They don't teach kids that. They need to. It needs to go into schools. My apologies. That last comment was picked up by my radio. I'm using voice to text. Hey, no worries, brother. It's all good. It's all good. Can an emotion happen without a thought? If it's stimulated from the outside. If it's stimulated from the outside, so you're sitting there, you're not really thinking about anything and you're just kind of relaxing, and a bird lands in front of you and starts to sing a beautiful song. And you suddenly have this emotional, wow, the vibration of that bird expressing its free song influence your emotional field. Or you're at a sports game and your team has the ball and they score the touchdown, and that event causes you, yay! And that event stimulates an emotion inside you that may be amplified by your think, yeah, they're going to score, right? So you can add or subtract to emotional qualities that are stimulated into your mind by the environment. Yeah, we're almost done today. I understand. Hi, we got through all that. Through that, wonderful. Christopher saying, it's my it's my belief that I will be in this realm for a very long time. What can you tell me about that? That is highly dependent on how close you get to love. The ultimate pinnacle of love relative to the human dimension is meeting the divine. The ultimate pinnacle of love in this dimension is meeting the divine. And if your focus is to meet the divine, to know love, then you might find your time here will be quite short. It's not necessary when you understand your true nature, that you are a function of divine love. I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thank you for your questions, your support, your likes. Remember to subscribe, follow, give the video a thumbs up. I want to wish you all much love. Thank you for coming by. We'll see you guys on the Friday edition of Shortcut for Your Soul. And remember, choose love. Choose love. Surrender all fear. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful and a joyful day.